Welcome to Ginger Wellness Podcast. And today I'm with Katie Helton. She's a nurse practitioner that's also working in Ginger Wellness. And we are coming in today because we haven't been showing you our face for a while. We've kind of been rocking it in the world of taking care of clients, and that takes some time.
Take care of patients.
Yeah, and that's our most important gig. But there's so many things that we need to get out to the community.
Yeah.
And that we're passionate about. And we are going to start doing this more often. We're getting it set up to where it's going to be easy for us to get this information out. Things are happening rapidly in the health world, I feel. You know, we are absolutely in a healthcare revolution right now.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I couldn't be happier with the changes.
But do you know what I love better? We're on the right side of it. That's my favorite part. You know, I'm no longer funneled in traditional healthcare. And luckily for me, I found this out 5 years ago. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, even when I first started this wellness center, it was obvious to me that we had a nutritional deficiency issue. Obvious. And when I stepped out, I was the worst eater. All my clients know it. I'm a pretty honest provider. You know, I'll tell everybody the truth. And I was a ramen noodle hot dog kind of girl. Steak and potatoes. You know, back in the day, I got it from my grandpa, but I didn't even understand why I should respect that so much. And then I just started going to the grocery store and had every illness known to man. And it was like, you're in healthcare.
You should know better, right?
You should, but we're not.
No, we don't.
We're not taught.
No,
you know,
not at
and
all.
it really takes stepping out of the system, taking a real big look at what's going on. You know, what I love about doing this is I think a lot of the times like that I had a patient turned out to be a physician, an ICU physician. You know, we discuss all these things and it becomes an epiphany moment because when you're in the system, you know, we're taught we got to do this drug, and especially critical care and ER, because there's so much needed medical interventions that we do that it's, we're not trashing healthcare as like, you don't need a hospital ever.
Right. No,
there's
thank God
so
for
many
hospitals.
life-saving measures
Yeah.
that can be taken.
Absolutely.
And we've worked in the ICU. I was an old ER. And so having this conversation, and at the end, she told me she was a physician. And I just remember saying, if you think I'm a kook, fine. But I'm like, please, 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 I beg you, when you get off this phone, I said, please look at something that they don't send you. Look at something that they're not feeding you. And go do something. And 2 days later, she sent me an email. And there was a new literature that just came out of the New England Journal of Medicine. And it talks about how the problem in America and with American disease and with chronic disease. And guys, we're talking about heart disease. We're talking about diabetes. If you want to know what all that is, it's called metabolic dysfunction. You're hearing that on a rapid level. Mm-hmm. And the cause of this is nutritional deficiencies.
Absolutely.
So what do you see in clinic, Katie? Because I'll give you, we kind of like doing research, me and you know, and I'll tell you, we are not the type of clinic that if Katie comes in with a certain mindset, I'm not here to change her mind. She is her own provider. She's learned her own things. She knows her things. We tend to always morph together eventually.
Absolutely, right? We started off on different diets and now we're pretty well similar, I would say, on what we recommend.
Yeah, I'm still not doing your dairy. And you don't recommend it a lot.
I don't recommend dairy. No. All my patients know that. Yeah, I say no dairy.
Yeah, and it's all about coming back to common sense. And we've got to do that a little bit. When you're talking about our food and when you're talking about our health, they have absolutely ripped us of common sense.
Absolutely. And it's confusing because you look and one article says, oh, eggs are so bad for you. And then another article says, oh, eggs are so good for you. And then one says, oh, seed oils are okay. No, seed oils aren't okay. And so it's super confusing. I mean, I see it every single day in clinic. Patients are so confused and overwhelmed with food options. They just don't know what to eat, right?
And they've wrestled through so many fad diets,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
over time. They've actually made them sicker. It doesn't even matter if you lose weight on a fad diet, you'll be sicker in the future. And we're not understanding that, you know? And that's what, it's honestly, sometimes I have to take a break and be like, I'm exhausted because we don't realize that we have been funneled into a certain way of thinking.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, and when we talk about health and we talk about gut, and the biggest problem is the gut. I now believe that more than I've ever believed it. And when you're looking at, I don't trust science anymore. There's too many variables that they miss, and they miss so many variables. I want to see what I see with my own eyes. And what I see in this clinic is that you can eat all the grass-fed beef you want, And there is no triglyceride issue. There's no heart disease issue. There's nothing that's going to come up for you. It just doesn't happen. If you eat processed food and fast food, I will see triglyceride problems and a heart disease risk every single day.
Absolutely. Even if
Every
it's
day.
just you're doing chicken from the grocery store, you're doing your processed food, but you're avoiding red meat because that's what your doctor told you to do.
Awful.
Your triglycerides are still really high, and usually you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, even though you're not eating red meat. So
But that brings up a point because that's what ends up happening, right?
Absolutely,
Because
'cause
we
that's
have
what they
given the
recommend.
mindset that chicken, okay, and I have people that say, I'm eating healthy. I'm eating chicken and vegetables. So you've cut out the red meat to go eat chicken, but you're getting that chicken from the store. And that chicken has no less saturated fat than the meat that you're getting. It's the way that they now feed the chicken, right? Because when you look back in time, food was meant to be for us and it was meant to come from resources, but we weren't meant to touch it that much first.
Yeah.
We weren't meant to feed it. We weren't meant to mess with it. We weren't meant to do anything with it. That's why you can look out in nature and you'll see animals in nature that do not have diabetes. They do not have heart disease. We do not give them insulin injections. We are not seeing massive tumor growths everywhere. And I know diseases happen in the wild just like anything does. But we see that in our pets
Absolutely.
because we feed them.
Processed food, that's all we feed them.
But going clean isn't that hard. It's not as hard as we make it because the problem is breaking through the fad diet myth, right? Because everybody that's ever done a fad diet, it's debilitating. It's restrictive. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And then you eventually go back to it. That's why fad diets don't work and they're really not healthy.
Absolutely. Because then what? You're restricting the foods that you're eating. So then you're in a state of nutrient deficiencies, causing more issues. And maybe you'll feel good for a little bit.
But then you'll have an autoimmune disorder.
Right. And then,
You know, and then the other things start popping
it
up.
snowballs. Absolutely. It
And a lot of
snowballs.
the times you don't realize that's why. But that's why. That's absolutely why that happens, you know? And it's just, we got to redirect the education. We got to redirect the teaching. And for me, it's all about nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. I always say healing starts in the gut. Where does the gut start? Your mouth. Oral health, what you put in your mouth, and it all goes down from there. I mean, that's where it starts, right?
Yeah.
So,
And the things that we do is just mind boggling. Me and you talk because you love herbs. I love herbs.
Yeah.
We both love herbs. A lot of the times I'm prescribing herbs all the time, you know, and I've gotten to that because the problem is the gut, especially when you see people struggle on low dose GLP-1. It's always a gut issue. And until you fix the root cause issue, it's never going to work.
absolutely. Because
So cranking it up is stupid.
Band-aiding, and that's not what we do. We don't
No,
want
we
to
don't.
cover up.
We don't.
So.
We don't. And it just doesn't work that way. But even taking herbs and supplements, you know, we've always talked about this because I'm the girl that I don't want to be the wellness center that's going to have, okay, let's run $800 worth of labs. They're going to tell us what? The same thing that we already know. We already know it's nutritional deficiency. Whatever way that looks for you, it's going to look different for somebody else, right?
Right.
And the
Same with
whole issue
metabolic
is we
disorder.
fix the nutritional issue.
Yep.
And I never want to be that wellness center that is just throwing supplements at you. Let me sell you this, and I'm going to sell you more supplements, and I'm going to sell you more and sell you more and be on it and be on it. It just pounds you down too. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
And I'm also very non-compliant. I am. I tell my clients that too. It's fine. I'm honest.
Yeah.
I am that girl. I'm that girl that I don't want to feel like I'm taking a med. You know, I don't want to feel like that I have to get up and I have to open 6 different bottles and I have to take 6 different things to be healthy. And even though a lot of you will have to, please understand that. You will have to because it's not just a nutritional deficiency issue now. Now, not only do we have to get to a normal level of nutrition, we got to pack that on even more because you got healing to do. And the body won't heal if we don't amp it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we may have to send you supplements. But part of what you got to understand is that through this 5 years, I've been changing. Slowly changing, making those slow changes, switching over to things like I only use honey to cook. You know, I get my bread local. I cook it most of the time. I make homemade pizza.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing for me was when I was looking at greens that we recommend, right? And I'm looking at these herbs that we recommend, and I see clover, and I see nettles, and I started, spring happened, and then I'm like, what? Why am I paying for all of this herbal tea, all of these gut detoxes, all of these things when it's right in my yard?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So 2 months ago, I started doing raw local honey every day, raw local. That's very different than what you find in the grocery store. Do not confuse the two. Do not confuse the two. That's very important. And I found red clover, white clover. So it was interesting to me because I was looking up red clover. What is the big thing that we talk about we got to do to our guts right now?
Clean it out.
Clean it out.
Clean
And
it out.
when you look up red clover, ask a farmer about red clover. Ask a farmer if they want their cows eating red clover. They will tell you yes every single day. And it will say on there is antibacterial, antifungal, anti-parasitic properties. It's going to provide all these isoflavones and all these amazing things for the cow. And it's very great for a mammal. What are we?
Right.
Robots?
Right.
And it's like all over the field. And then here we are recommending buy this $150 worth of supplements. And some of you are going to have to. You're not going to have resources like I do. And God gave it to me. And I'm so grateful that I actually care enough to look and find these resources because I'm making tea. We're drinking it right now. And we're having a tea time on Monday. And Monday, you're going to be able to get Bungee Fit. You're going to come check out our herbal tea that is an amazing gut detox. And you can get it right in your backyard, especially if you live in the country. Stop using the pesticides, guys. Stop using them. Stop weed eating everything. You will find mushrooms when you don't weed eat.
Yeah.
You know?
And herbs like these.
Yeah, you'll find it everywhere.
Yep.
You know, I found blackberry bushes, and I started that 2 months ago. And I just feel the weight's been dropping. Do you know how much honey that I've consumed in the past 2 months? If people really understood, this is why I got to get bees. It's really expensive, my honey addiction. The weight's just dropping off me even more. I feel even more better. You know, and if you think about it, this is the most amazing nutrition that we can get resourced locally, right? Because have you ever thought of this? Like, even when I prescribe herbs, it's always in the back of my mind when they cultivate that. We lose our nutrients in 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the closest that you can resource the ingredients that we're talking about, and even when we talk about herbs, guys, herb is a plant. It is a plant, and it's one that's been largely misvalued, I believe. We don't even think about it when we season our food. And even if you season a little more, you're adding more nutrients.
That's the thing I always tell patients. Add the parsley, add the cilantro, add the garlic, add the onions. All those are good antibacterials. Add the cinnamon, add the honey, antivirals, antibacterials, antiparasitics, lower your blood sugar. I mean, it's crazy, and they've got studies on those things. Just add more herbs to your food. Add the black cumin, right? Yeah. Great for your thyroid. There's so many things that you can do to naturally cleanse out your gut. You just have to do it in higher dosing.
And we got to cut out the bad food.
Yeah.
We do. We got to cut that bad food down, but we have to somehow amp up. This is why I love this tea too. You know what I mean? Because you're getting that ample level of nutrients. Our problem is a nutritional deficiency no matter where you're going to look at it. You'll lose weight if you get more nutrients in. It just will happen. It just will. Your body is an amazing machine if it is fed properly.
Absolutely has the ability to heal itself. Was beautifully and perfectly created. Body doesn't make mistakes. We just put stuff in, and it has to react to the garbage we put in, right?
Yeah.
You put garbage in, you get garbage out.
Yeah. And we got to start remembering that and quit wanting Band-Aids.
Yep.
Quit wanting quick fixes. You know, quit wanting that, because if you're a quick fix person, you will be in traditional healthcare for the rest of your life. It's not working well for many other people. I'm just going to tell you. You know, if you keep that mindset, you will need traditional healthcare for the rest of your life. And when you look at what's happening in traditional healthcare, it's crazy. And I hope that we're seeing this revolution and it's starting to change, and that some of these ideas and concepts are going to creep into the actual mainstream so that people can actually get healthy again and start living healthy, functional lives.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while.
It is going to take a while.
If you ever see how slow a system is at changing.
Yeah, look at the healthcare system.
Yeah,
but people are changing, right? That's why we get more and more new patients every day, because they see our stuff and they're so sick of traditional healthcare.
And they're open
changing
to it, though. And it's not just that. It's that I am never going to tell you guys, okay, when you walk out of here, everything in your life has got to change tomorrow. I think that's the most ludicrous thing you can do.
Slow and steady.
Yeah, slow and steady. And you got to make those changes. It's now 5 years. And guys, I'm just like everybody else. We live in America. I'm going to go out and have to eat that one thing every now and again. And we all do, right? But if I can pack in that nutrition most of the days, I'm healthy. You know, I'm still healthy. Much healthier than what I'd ever been. And we just got to put a really hyper focus on that.
Yeah.
That's why we're going to do a cooking class.
Absolutely. Because we understand, like we said, it's overwhelming. when you're thinking about cooking healthy meals for your family. But again, simple, common sense.
Simple.
Real food. You can eat the heck out of steak and potatoes. I always tell my patients, if you want to eat steak and potatoes for every meal, go for it. God gave us potatoes. That grows in the ground. Eat it. It's full of nutrients.
I eat potatoes every
single
single
meal. As long
meal.
as they are, organic. So I eat most of my meals. Eat the red meat. As long as it's local and organic and grass-fed, just the way it was made to be, go for it. We see their labs, like Jasha said. They're perfect.
Yeah.
They're perfect.
But we still got to get that extra nutrition in, and that's kind of the part that we're missing, because we see a lot of patients that are suffering from rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune disorders, and the problem is a nutritional deficiency over a long period of time. There is no way that I'm going to give you a multivitamin that's going to fix that. In fact, stop all your multivitamins, guys. Just stop them all. Just stop it. But it's just not going to fix it. And that's what we want to do. We want to show you guys how you can amp up that nutrition, not just for yourself, but for your family. So many times patients will come in and they got the mindset of the fad diet, which the fad diet mindset is I'm going to have to cook something weird for me, and then the rest of my family eats something different. That's pitched. That's gone. That doesn't even need to happen anymore. It doesn't. You can learn to cook home-cooked meals that are so tasty, so delicious. Herbs are amazing. And we've got to learn how to use them. And so our first cooking class is going to be a crock pot cooking class. And what we're going to do, and come Monday, on Monday from 11 to 1 at Ginger Wellness, we're doing tea time. You can get set up for bungee. I'm going to be talking about functional physical therapy. You'll be able to ask us questions, and we're going to be letting you sign up for these classes. But we're doing a crock pot class where you're going to bring your crock pot to the cooking class, and we're going to help you fill it. And you're going to take it home and you're going to simmer it, and that's going to be your family meal. And we're going to show you little ways that are going to add like an absolute punch of nutrition into your meal. And that way you can start that disease process reversal, and not just yourself, but in all of your family.
Absolutely. I tell all my patients that, because we see a lot of women here, right? And women are the matriarchs of their family's health.
Yes.
And when you as a mom get healthy, you're spreading health to your children and your grandchildren, right? Because that's how genetics work and
Yes.
DNA works.
Yes.
So yeah, it's super, super important. Don't just get healthy for you, get healthy for your family.
It matters. It matters so much.
It matters. Look at the kids these days. They're so sick.
Yep.
And we're not blaming anyone, right? You just don't know what you don't know till
Yeah.
you didn't know it, right?
We didn't know. I didn't know. 5 years ago, I didn't know. And that's why I can relate to a lot of people. And I can help you guys back off those things. But I'll tell you, it'll be the best thing that you ever do in your entire life when you finally get it. You won't need meds. We say that all the time. You don't need a GLP-1.
Yeah.
Yes, we do semaglutide and tirzepatide. We do. But that's only this much. That's like a little bit that we're going to give you that's going to give you that sense of a Band-Aid, and then we're going to rip it right back off.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to learn to use the lifestyle to make those changes and to get really, truly healthy. And it's honey. Honey's delicious. I'm in love with honey. I'm looking for bees.
Yeah.
I am.
It is. I mean, it's
I am.
great. It's I'm telling you, I keep it on stock always, but especially wintertime because it's such a good antiviral. And kids take that way better than they take your cough syrup or whatever other stuff you try to shove down their throat. They love honey. Give it to them.
And it's so local. It's so rich in nutrients. And I've even fermented some garlic in it. We talk about healing the gut.
Yeah.
We got to get fermented foods back in. We need sauerkraut. We need kimchi. We need these things, And even when I say, get on a pre and probiotic, what I really mean is make you some actual organic sauerkraut.
Yeah.
And and for people that will do that.
Absolutely.
It is 1,000 times better than any pre and probiotic capsule that you're ever going to find and take.
Yeah. All my patients know this. I don't ever recommend a probiotic. I'm very particular because it causes increased histamine response. And when we're already dealing with gut issues, you're just giving yourself more issues, more histamine, more inflammation. So it can actually do the opposite of what we want.
But that's kind of what we talk about too when we talk about supplements,
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have to check. That's why we're careful.
Very
we
careful.
make sure we know what to use, and we make sure that when we refer, it's something that we vetted. And I'll have many people that, where do I get this? Like if it's not the 1 to 2 places or right here, we gotta learn how to watch that. But you're never gonna fix a chemical problem with more chemicals. You're just not.
Nope.
You are never going to fix a chemical problem with more chemicals. So in my mindset, if I've got 8 bottles to open, what's in that? That came from a lab somewhere. I don't know where this thing was cultivated, how much is actually in it. Those are all things that we got to start thinking about. And when you can resource these things so local and realize that it's right in your backyard. Even in town, guys, you have white clover. I'm sorry, you have white clover everywhere. Now we have to worry about sprays and things like that. But just like you made the point the other day, you know, when I was talking about, well, I got to be careful because I don't want people that spray their yards. You're like, it's no different than the grocery store. They need to wash it just the same. And it's true. But it is going to be different because it's still going to have more nutrition.
Yeah, 100 times more nutrition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like you said, it starts going down. And usually by the time it gets to the grocery store, it's 7 days old. By the time you eat it, now you're thinking 10 days old. That piece of broccoli has little to no nutrition.
But I don't even think people realize that because we're all hormonal. This is what we do the most of, is people will, you know, reach out to us. They're hormonal, they're autoimmune, they got all these issues. And then we'll start talking about the gut because the gut controls our hormones. The gut is our hormone regulator. And so even if you come in and we help you with your hormones, we'll use some bioidenticals, we'll help you get them balanced, but we still got to fix the root cause issue.
Exactly. Why are they off in the first place? Which is liver and gut, right? Why do you have anxiety? Gut, right? Why do you have weight gain? Gut. Why do you have autoimmune? Gut. Where's your immune system come from? Gut, right? It all.
And we've downplayed it.
To the gut.
And not only that, but we've ruined it over time.
Oh,
Antibiotic use over and over again. Guys, think about when we consistently use antibiotics on the human person. That is a broad spectrum antibiotic. So when you understand the gut and when you understand what the gut microbiome is, we have many bacteria that is needed. It is not needed, but it not just needed, necessary. Necessary for many cellular functions within the body and necessary for immune regulation. That's sparked by bacteria. And so when we put a broad spectrum antibiotic on you, what we're saying is, well, this antibiotic kills all these kinds of bacteria. Don't really know what you got. Here you go. We just killed your gut. We just killed your microbiome. And then we're not looking or forethinking the future and what can happen when we consistently do these things over and over and over again. And it's not being researched. It's not being looked at. It's not being fed to your traditional healthcare providers. You know, they don't know these things. I think that's a big pharma problem, if you want my truth opinion on that.
Yeah.
That's for another day. But it is. Yeah. They're not feeding them this information. But we are wrecking the gut. Best antibacterial. Everybody should have it over winter. I'm actually fermenting garlic in mine.
Yeah, garlic and onion. You can
garlic and onion, you can fill it in there. You can let it ferment for a month. Let it sit, and that is your best replacement for digestive enzymes that you could ever do. And it needs to be done. Now there's some research that I want to do. So I'm going to be doing that over the next couple of months. And what I want to see is, because for the longest time they'll tell you that sugar or honey is going to raise your blood sugar. So you know Jasha always likes to use common sense. So Jasha has a theory. Of course. Like let's say that I wake up in the morning and I take this first thing after not eating anything. I'm going to eat up those nutrients. What is the biggest thing for energy of the human body? Sugar. Natural sugar, right? We don't know what that is. It's not what you're eating. It's not what any of you are eating. So when I recommend honey, I recommend to my patients, they got to take it first thing in the morning. Give your body that first rich amount of nutrients that you can ingest. If you're going to go to McDonald's and eat a large McDonald's meal and then go home and decide to do the honey that Jasha recommended, you've already created the metabolic problem. So what is your body going to do now? You're just adding more sugar on top of the processed sugar that you have a metabolic problem, and your body can't handle it, so it's not even going to be able to handle the natural sugar you just ingested. And so we got to think about those things. You know, and I want to look at that. I'm actually going to be looking at a diet, seeing what honey does after you eat that big meal. Is it going to raise it anymore? You know, I want to play with that, and we're going to be using that continuous glucometer to do that. But I'll tell you this, there's no way, and I'm doing my lab student too, but there's no way that I could have been losing weight and getting more insulin resistance by eating this much sugar, and I'm eating it by the gallon, so I am.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, well, you have to think too, you've got a healthy gut, right? And you already don't have insulin resistance or a high A1C. And for our patients who do, they just need a continuous glucose monitor to make sure that they can handle it, right? When you already have a whole lot of insulin resistance, sometimes even the natural stuff will put you over the edge. So if you do have diabetes or insulin resistance, get a continuous glucose monitor. See what's putting you over the edge. See if it's doing it. See if berries are doing it. Usually not. Usually you can handle those things. But just in case, continuous glucose monitor.
Yeah.
We preach that
And
to
you
all our
can
patients.
get those easy.
So easy and cheap, and it gives you so much information. I have patients who do it. They'll eat a saltine, which you wouldn't think would spike blood sugar. Blood sugar spikes and stays high for hours and hours and hours. Why? Because it's processed food. They eat honey and some berries. Blood sugar spikes, comes right back down just like it's supposed to, stay stable throughout the day.
Yeah, and that's important. And I think that we got to start looking at that. I love those continuous
Oh, me too.
glucometers, honestly.
So
and
much
when
good
you're
information.
struggling, it gives you the immediate knowledge of what food is doing to you at the cellular level. Like literally at the cellular level. And it gives you so much information to play with that it'll get you healthy really quick if you know how to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what exercise does and how it can lower blood sugar. You know, so sure, maybe you're going to have a big meal. Let's go for a walk afterwards. And you watch your blood sugar just go down and stabilize. Perfect. Easy fix, right?
Yeah. So many things that you can do. So Monday, come by.
Yeah,
Check
come
us
see
out.
us.
We're going to be, we'll have tea for you to taste. It's really good.
It
It's
is really,
really
really good. It's really good.
Really good. And, you know, we're going to have lots of things going on. We're going to have bungee going on. We'll have that crock pot meal for you to try, some snacks, some appetizers. And me and Katie are going to be available to answer some questions and some generalized questions, you know, about health and about metabolic disorders and what's going on with this healthcare revolution. Because I think it's important that you guys don't take as long to figure this out as traditional healthcare is going to. I truly, truly hope that the population figures this out before they do, because it's a system that just takes forever to get this information to the people, unfortunately.
Well, healthy people don't make money, right? So,
That's going to be the biggest problem.
yeah.
That's going to be the biggest brunt in traditional healthcare, and it's not our physicians' fault.
Nope, not at all.
It's not the nurses' fault.
Nope.
It's not anybody's fault. It's happening from above.
Yep, big pharma.
Big pharma, and we've said it before. You know, I had another physician on on a consult one time, and I say my spiel, and he said, "Jasha, well, that is all true. Why don't we know this?" And I looked right at him and I said, "Who is going to profit off of me teaching you it's a nutritional problem? Especially if I'm going to tell you to go pick it in your own yard and I'm not even going to sell you some herbs. Who profits off that? Only you.
That's right.
Only you.
Yep.
Only you." Same thing. I said this the other day, because why have we never done a research study in America on what human breast milk can do for the reversal of disease in the human body? Why? I'll tell you why. Because I can't come to your house and steal your breast milk and bottle it up and resell it to you. We just need to wake up. We just need to wake up in this healthcare revolution and start getting nutrients back in our food. That's our goal. That's our goal for this community. That's our goal for all communities that come here. And we want to teach you ways. We want to teach you how to add it in ways that don't make it doesn't taste bad.
No,
It's delicious.
not at all. I mean, I eat rich, delicious, flavorful
Me
food.
too.
That's super satisfying. I almost never eat just a salad. I add lots of salt, lots of garlic, lots of different herbs. My food tastes really, really good. I'm not missing out on anything.
No, me
And
either.
in fact, now, like, I would never even want to stop by a fast food place because it tastes so
nasty.
disgusting.
It's plastic.
You can taste it. Once you start eating really good, real food, you can taste a big difference. You know?
It's it makes you wonder why I just picked this out of my backyard, and we talk about all the starving people in the world, and we have even forgotten that we have food right in our backyards. It just blows my mind. But come by Monday. Come check us out Monday for tea time. Get fit for bungee. You'll be able to sign up for the first class. And to give you a little information on bungee, you're going to need fit. It's going to take a minute for us to make sure that we have the right things for you. So take that opportunity Monday afternoon and get with Jody and go ahead and get your numbers ready and get yourself fitted for that first class. It's going to save you a lot of time. And come check us out and hear about how you can amp up nutrition. Sign up for our cooking class. Check out functional physical therapy. Make an appointment with Sarah Brandy. Ask us questions. Come and ask us questions. We want to give you guys all the knowledge that you need to be healthy. That is our goal in this community. And we can no longer do things in a way that we are going to restrict knowledge from other people. We're not going to treat you like you're stupid.
No, we do that. I just had this conversation with a nurse yesterday. I said, I will never safeguard any information. What I know, I teach. And I teach it to my patients. So especially, again, women, no offense to the men, but I teach it to other women because they teach other women. And that spreads. And we always say this, we're not in it to get rich. We're in it to help our communities. And there's such big health disparities in Missouri. We just want to teach you guys. So yeah, come see us. We'll answer all your questions. We will teach you everything we know. The goal is that you don't have to come see us all the time. We don't want that. We want to teach you everything we know, get you healthy, and have you start teaching other people and get our communities healthier.
Yeah. Let's make this healthcare revolution get a little louder.
Yeah.
Let's get it loud in Leclerc County. Let's get it real loud in Leclerc County and Camdenton and in all the surrounding areas. And let's just start getting healthy again. So come see us and we'll be happy to answer all your questions.